All right, all right, all right. Donnie, how you like that fade out?
Man, nice. Come on now. You over there sounding like Stacy.
Hey, where do you think she got it from?
I was just getting ready to tell him I learned it from you. So hey, it's all good.
DJ Vass over here. No, definitely good morning. Good morning. And definitely thank you, Brandon and Anthony, for waking up at dark 30 in the morning to be with our community. Let me kind of just tee this up because I want to get right into the information.
Right
So
on.
Brandon, Anthony Clark, and obviously Anthony Enriquez have been gracious with their time this morning. They are wealth advisors with Thrive Wealth Solutions. This is part two. So many of our community, you already are familiar. You got teased a little bit. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. So be prepared for your minds to be blown. I can tell you that my wife and I, we were definitely totally blown away when we really got a chance to sit down and go through this information that you're going to hear today. So as a kind of tease, as a housekeeping, what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep the conversation interactive as much as we can, but we're going to allow Brandon and Anthony kind of really deep dive into what you're going to see here in a few moments. With that, again, let me do a proper introduction. My name is James Vassar with Global FX Trade Club. My partner in success, Donnie Somerville. Let's see, my other partner in success. I know he's in the background dealing with managing that toddler, Destry Wells, and a host of leaders that you'll see on the line: Stacy, Cousin Ed, AJ, Terrell, Rhonda. We appreciate all of you, family, and of course our Global FX Trade Club family. So with that, Donnie, anything you want to say before we kind of turn it over to Brandon and Anthony to kick things off?
Again, just want to reiterate, if you all have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. We have quite a few co-hosts that we will be managing the chat. We'll make sure that we get a chance to go through those questions. Once Brandon kind of give us a little pause, we'll get to those questions, okay? If you have something that you want to say, please make sure you raise your hand and we'll come to you again. We want to make sure that he gets a chance to just kind of finish that thought there. And so we don't want to interrupt him while he is trying to get out the information. Listen, we have a lot of information to get to you, and we want to make sure that that's done this morning. So if there needs to be a part three, I'm sure Mr. Brandon is ready and prepared, but we want to try to get as much information out as we possibly can get out this morning. All right. Back to you, sir.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Brandon, the floor is yours, man.
All right. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm happy to be back. It is Saturday, which is one of my favorite days of, it's the weekend, and I'm extremely excited and happy to be here. Hopefully I can provide some value and build on what we talked about. What was that, last week or so? I want to say it was like last Monday or something. It's pretty recent.
Yeah, about a week and a half ago. Yep.
Hey, just real quick, show of hands. Who was here for the last time we got together and did this? Just go ahead and raise that hand up. So I need to see where we're coming from. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. All right. So we got about 7 people who were here last time. It's 29 of us total. Okay. All right. So some of you guys might be a little bit lost, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of give us some basic foundation before we actually hop right into the example, because last time I said I was going to just bring an example to kind of bring the fundamentals full circle. Okay. So real quick before we get started, we are talking about a specially designed indexed universal life insurance policy that we're going to design to basically function like a line of credit, a retirement account, a debt weapon. It's so many things, right? But the main piece that you want to understand is this. And it's very simple. Everybody's money works exactly like this. First of all, you go to work, right? Or you have a business or something, you make an income, right? Once that income is made, it usually deposits in your bank account, right? And then from there, you spend it on bills and fun and entertainment or school or investing, whatever, right? But let's say this money that you spend goes towards bills, right? Is there any way to make money from paying your bills that you guys know of, other than your credit card where you get your cash back? You know what I mean? For those of you who are advanced enough to do understand that you can't get points and rewards for using your credit card on everyday purchases, right? So let's put some numbers to this real quick. All right, let's say if you are somebody who makes, let's just say 60,000 a year, you know, and let's say that's your take home. That money's basically traveling into your bank account, right? And then let's say from there, you're spending $48,000 a year on bills. And then let's say you're lucky enough to be able to save 12,000 out of the 48 or out of the 60 that you made. Some people let their money sit in the bank. Some people buy stocks. Some people buy crypto. Some people invest in real estate. Really doesn't matter. This is what you call discretionary income. And the reason why we put discretionary income and take it and invest it is so that we can accumulate wealth, so that we don't have to work forever. We don't have to exchange necessarily time for money. We can exchange money for money. Ooh, that's deep, y'all. Exchange money for money. Wow. Okay. All right. So this is how most people's money operates. And so let's say somebody was able to go and invest this $12,000 and earn a pretty solid return of about 10% a year. How much money would they make in 1 year? It's like $1,200, right? Not bad.
Exactly.
$1,200 more than what you would have had. So now you got what, 13,200 if we added that all up. But check this out over here. $48,000 was spent. So 48 grand made no money, right? And so in my mind, that's a problem, because let's just think for a minute, if we were able to take that whole 48,000 and make money on that, what could that look like for us long term, as far as financial freedom, creating generational wealth, having a certain level of financial security? It could go a long way. Okay. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do today. Okay. Now, this is what's going to be happening, because I have a spreadsheet that I'm going to put together, and I'm actually going to talk about Kenny and Michelle today. Kenny and Michelle came to me about 5 months ago, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about their story before we hop into the example. But basically what we did for Kenny and Michelle was we took $60,000 of their income, and instead of paying that directly in the bank and taking $48,000 of it and paying their bills, we built them an insurance policy. Not just one insurance policy, 2 life insurance policies. So as that $60,000 a year comes into their bank account, before they spend it, they're going to put it here inside of this insurance policy. And this insurance policy, you got to actually look at 2 accounts. You got to look at it like a checking account and a savings account, or a savings account and a line of credit. However your mind works, that's how you want to look at it. So as this money comes in, they're depositing it, $60,000 a year, not all at once. This isn't like traditional insurance where you got to pay the same amount every month, or you got to start with a lump sum. Now, it does make it easier if you do it, but you don't have to start it. The key point is just getting started. Okay. Now, as this money comes in throughout the year, what they're going to start doing is borrowing from themselves. They're going to be borrowing their own money. Now, I know that sounds like stupid or kind of crazy, right? Borrow my own money. Why not just spend my own money? Okay. Well, let's remember this. Okay. Let's say they borrow 48,000. Okay. And they put this money back in their bank account. Point number 1, as they save this money, they're making a return on it. As they borrow this money, it costs them something. Okay. But here's the difference. As this money comes in the account, they're going to make about 7% a year on average on the full 60,000. As they borrow 48,000, it's going to cost them 44% on what they borrow. So what's 7 minus 4, everybody?
Everybody say 3.
3.
3%. Okay. So what's going to happen is this 3% differential or arbitrage or spread or profit or gain is going to go back inside of this savings account and compound and grow. And that's going to be money they could use for, let's say, paying off their house early, or supplement their retirement, or working capital for their business. blase, 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 right? You guys follow me so far? Yep, good stuff.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
If you
Okay.
follow, put a 777 in the chat with us.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. So as this money comes back into the bank account, they're going to continue to pay for their bills just like they normally were. But instead of now making nothing on $48,000 a year of expenses, they're going to average about 3% on that dead money is what I call it. Okay. All right. And do you think I need to cover anything else before we hop into the example?
Just another way stated, they're just collateralizing their equity in the policy to go pay their bills, simply put.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to get into those examples because that's when most of the questions are gonna come out.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's see what we got. Let's see.
Yeah, so I know, Brandon, when you were talking about the 10% example, if you were diligent enough to save $12,000 and you can earn, let's say, 10% on $12,000, $1,200, or now have the opportunity to earn, in this example, 3% on $48,000. Which one would you take? So,
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because some people might say, well, 10% is way better than 3%. Okay, well, let's follow that logic. Okay, what were the numbers? Saving of 12,000, right?
Making 10
at 10% equals what? That would be 13,100 total. That's right. That's what you would have now, right? But 1,200 of that would be profit or interest. Let's put that there. Not bad, right? But what if we were to take expenses of 48,000 at 3%? What does that equal? My calculator.
1440.
1440. So let's say 48,000 plus 1440. That's 49,440 minus our principal is that 1440. So let's put that in. 1440, right? So even though it's a smaller interest rate, a smaller return, we still end up with a greater profit than just saving alone. So we basically doubled our return by leveraging our cash through a system like this. And that's the name of the game, you guys, leverage. You guys do trading and everything. I'm not a trader, but I know they have stuff called leverage where you can get like 1 to 500 or 500 to 1 leverage. Or is that right? Am I saying it right?
man, it sounds like you've been with us, man.
That's right.
We rubbing off on you, man. That's good.
There you go. There you go. I'm just trying to use that because I know the community tight knit and everything. So I know y'all gotta y'all understand things that I don't understand, but leverage is the name of the game. That's consistent, and no matter what you're doing, leverage. Okay. So with that being said, y'all forgive me for all these tabs that you're gonna see. But we are gonna do our best to keep it simple.
Yeah, at any point while he's going through this illustration, feel free to leave your comments in the chat and I'll get to those. Just so then we don't gotta slow his rhythm down. You could just ask him in there and then I'll answer him.
All right. So this is the name of the firm that we work for. Now, keep in mind, Anthony and I are independent contractors. We kind of bounced around the insurance industry I bounced around a lot in the insurance industry. And then when one of those bounces, I met Anthony. The last bounce I met Anthony, right? And so me and him just kind of been friends and working together ever since. I found this unique opportunity with a very small firm located out here in Silicon Valley called Thrive Wealth Solutions. And this is a proprietary insurance design that they created. All right. So you guys are literally a part of something that is so new that it ain't even out like that. It's almost like having an iPhone before the iPhone came out, and you like working at Apple and employees had iPhone. So just so you guys know, okay, just so you guys know. Now, what we do is whenever we take a client in, we gotta Well, first of all, everybody has a certain level of goals, but our job is to essentially take what they have and kind of just build out a plan for them, right? And so if we're looking at Kenny and Michelle, they actually from where were they from? Maryland? Yeah, they're from Maryland. Yeah. Okay. Kenny works as a general manager, making $85K a year, and that's gross. You're gonna see the net number is gonna be a lot different. And for those of you who don't know, gross is before taxes, net is after taxes. All right. His wife Michelle, she works in customer service. She makes $50,000, and again, that's gross, but collectively, that's about $90,000 take home net. All right. Now, their expenses were kind of typo down there. Their expenses are $4,000 a month. Right, $4,000 a month, not $60,000 a year, $4,000. All right. As far as their assets, Kenny has a contribution of 6% of his salary to 401k. All right, and his employer is matching 3%. All right, so already we're gonna take a look at this, and we're gonna tell Kenny, not Brandon, to reduce that contribution to his 401k just a little bit. The reason why he wants to reduce it just a little bit is because the employer is giving him free money of 3%. So he only wants to match the 3%. He wants to take that additional and create a separate account, right? Because keep in mind, when we contribute to IRA 401k, that money's locked up until we are like 59 and a half, 60 years old. There are some good advantages to having an account like that, such as you can kind of leverage those the same way, but you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Pretty simple, okay? Now, as far as Michelle was contributing 6% of her salary to her 403b, and she wasn't getting a match. And so we immediately told her to pump the brakes momentarily, not permanently, but just momentarily. Let's pause and reposition some of those dollars, okay? As far as what they had in liquid savings, they had $15,000 in liquid savings. And this is just because they try to save every month, because you just never know, when a rainy day might happen, okay? As far as risk management, this is something that we work in, risk management. They had health insurance through work. Kenny had a life insurance policy through his job, and Tiffany had a term policy that she just had from a long time ago. Now, I want to talk about work life insurance real quick. Typically, when you have insurance policy through work and your company pays for it, they usually will give you 1 year of your salary, okay? Now, one thing that's unique about work life insurance as opposed to your own private life insurance is that when you have your own insurance that you pay for privately, that death benefit is tax-free. When your employer pays for your insurance benefits, anything above $50,000 is taxable if they're paying for it. So if your company has that you don't pay for out of pocket, let's say they have $500,000 of insurance on you, the first $50,000 is tax-free. Your heirs, your beneficiaries will be responsible for $450,000 of taxes, income taxes, because it's more of a benefit like that. So that's just something to consider, okay? Now, let's stop that share. Oh, and then we got their goals down here: retire at age 65 and keep 100% of their current income. Okay. Now we're gonna look at Kenny's, and if we have time, we'll look at Michelle's. Okay. All right, so what we are looking at is a spreadsheet. Of course, it's a spreadsheet, but it's an illustration. And what an illustration does is it takes all these numbers, puts them in a calculator, and it spits out a projection based on how much interest our money is going to make, how much it's going to cost us to borrow, and then how long we're going to be saving for. All right. It's going to tell us how much cash we're going to accumulate. It's going to tell us our death benefit. And it's going to show us retirement income if we're using this for retirement. All right. So it's pretty much just kind of helps us tell the story. And so the way you want to look at this is you want to read it from top to bottom, left to right. So in column A, this is telling us what year of the policy, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going forward. In column B, this is going to tell us their age at this point in time. Column C is going to tell us premium. All right. Now I'm gonna pause here because there's a lot of people who are here for the first time. A lot of people, or not as many people were here last time, but premium for insurance is different depending on what type of insurance you have. When it comes to life insurance, you have a minimum premium and you have a maximum premium. All right. Most people, when they buy insurance, pay the minimum premium, not the maximum premium. We basically are overpaying for insurance. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute here. All right, so as this money goes in as premium, we have this loan column that shows us how much money we're going to be taking from our premium or borrowing against our own money. And then we have this pocket, or this column, which is column E, that says out of pocket. Some people say I should say savings, because out of pocket sounds like you paid for it or you lost some money. But everybody's mind works different. Okay. Total out of pocket, let's just say total savings. All right. And then cash value. So cash value is where our interest credit is going to be accumulating. That also tells us how much of our money we can borrow in the account. All right. And if we look to the far right, we have our death benefit. And so I want you guys to notice how very specific that death benefit is. Okay. It's $881,345. Has anybody ever seen an insurance policy with a death benefit with such a very specific number like that? No?
No.
No. Why is that? Okay. Very first thing I said, when it comes to premium, you have a minimum premium and then you have a maximum premium. The insurance company sets the minimum premium, the IRS sets the maximum premium. So why is the IRS concerned about how much money somebody would put in a life insurance contract? Taxes. Okay, it's taxes. So when we design a policy, we are not focusing on death benefit. That's not the purpose of this plan. We're focusing on cash growth. So the objective here is to buy the least amount of insurance based on the premium. Okay, so the reason why you see this very specific number of $881,345 is because the premium is $60,000 a year. For those of you who have life insurance right now, I want you to think about how much you currently pay for your insurance and how much death benefit you have. Just think about it. Because not knowing anything, if you saw a policy where somebody was paying $5,000 a month or $60,000 a year for only $881,345 of insurance, you think they'd be overpaying, right? If you have insurance, right? So sometimes it's good to overfund, not overpay. So we're paying the minimum fees for insurance, but we're overpaying. So we're maximizing it. Okay. I just had to get some coffee. It's still early here, y'all. But it ain't that early. It's 9:30. But you know, Saturday morning.
Hey, Mike, we say money don't sleep.
Neither does my 3-year-old.
You mentioned something really quickly, Brennan, right before you go into it, and you asked, I don't know if you asked a question. I'm going to ask a question, okay, especially to the group, and I know we are streaming live on Facebook. If you do not have insurance, or let me ask it like this: if you know somebody that does not have life insurance, put a 111 in the chat. If you know someone that does not have life insurance, put a 111 in the chat. So I don't want to single anybody out. If you know someone that doesn't have it. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Hey, and real quick, man, but I got into the insurance industry because I heard it was a good opportunity to like make money, you know. But when you first come in entry level, you're only taught one side of it. You're taught death benefit, protection, this and that. This side of it, we're more so using it as a living benefit and using it in financial planning and estate planning. It's not really talked about all that much. Like you really gotta, whenever you're considering something at this level, you really gotta find the right person. Really gotta find the right person. And I'm so fortunate that I found like a mentor just in the industry who's been doing it for decades, who really taught me this. Insurance is the easiest and cheapest and most effective way to create wealth. Next to buying a house, I would even say buying the insurance is as important, if not more important, than buying a house from a wealth building standpoint. Most people's their wealth is tied up in their home. It's most people's number one asset, right? But it takes some money to get into. You have to go into debt in order to buy a house. insurance, you're basically using yourself like commodities. Anybody know what commodities are? Gold, silver, wheat, oil, gas. Those things are actual real money, right? Not the fiat currency. That's what we exchange for commodities and whatnot, things that we need to live. A home would be an example of a commodity, like real estate, right? In insurance, we are the commodity. We are the asset. We're actually able to leverage our own selves and create wealth immediately. It's powerful once you understand like the full overarching concept of how you can strategically do this. Okay, so enough about that. Let me get off my soapbox for today. All I'm saying is, you don't have life insurance, get some life insurance. And if you're going to get some life insurance, this is how you can use it. I feel like to benefit you the best way. Okay.
Easier put, Brandon always says, this is how you buy money.
This is buying money.
Money.
Yeah.
That's simply what it is.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. And a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. So right here, column C, we're gonna focus in on year one. All right. So what's happening as Kenny pays his premium, and keep in mind his premium is $5,000 a month. That's a total of $4,000 of his expenses plus $1,000 a month of savings. So that's the total of money that he already has. It's not $5,000 extra on top. It's $5,000 of income that he's receiving. Okay. So he's taking that money and paying it in as premium. So if he did that over the course of 12 months, that'd be $60,000. All right. So $60,000 a year he's paying into this policy. Now in the loan column, you'll see that $4,000 is being taken out every month for a loan. Okay. So it goes back to the first thing we talked about, where he's taking his expenses or paying his expenses through his insurance policy. Now, when that money comes out, it costs about 4%. When the money goes in, it's earning about 7%, but we're not showing 7. We're being conservative. So this is basically how it's looking. Let's say his bank account was right there. He's taking $5,000 and he's paying it every month. Then from there, he's taking a loan of $4,000, and that's going back into his bank account. Then he pays his bills. Real small step. All right. So what does that mean? If he put in $5,000, borrowed $4,000, that means he saved how much? $1,000. This is money he was already saving. He just was saving it in the bank. You guys remember the savings that he had? Okay. All right. So if he saved $1,000 a month for 12 months, that's $12,000. Right. So column G or column F, where it says lifetime savings, what you're going to notice is that this number is 12,000, but if he does 12,000 a year, it's going to go up by 12,000. So it's just keeping track of his total out of pocket, his total contribution. Okay. And some of you might be thinking, well, wait, is he paying $1,000 a month for insurance? No, he's not paying $1,000 a month for insurance. This is what I talk about for buying money for pennies on the dollar. Buying money for pennies on the dollar. You see where it says cash value, lifetime savings. There's a difference between those two numbers. He put in 12,000. He has 7,000 that he has access to. The reason why he doesn't have the full 12,000 is because of this. That death benefit has a fee, right? It's a fee for insurance. All right. So he has this close to $1 million insurance policy. It's got to cost a little bit of something. Okay. It does not cost $5,000 for the insurance, because if you look at the numbers, 12,000 minus 7,000 looks like 5,000 is what he paid for that much insurance. Those aren't the actual numbers. Okay. So there's a fee. I can't tell you the exact number because I don't have the chart in front of me, but there's also something called a surrender charge. Okay. The fee is actually a fee. The surrender charge is not a fee, but it's an amount of money that is off limits, meaning he cannot borrow this money in year one. The reason for it is because the insurance company has to recoup their cost before they can free up that money. It costs insurance companies a lot of money to underwrite a policy and issue it. They have to liquidate assets, sell positions in order to set aside a portion of that cash for his death benefit. Okay. If you guys don't know, kind of know what I'm talking about, that's why I wanted to talk about that the first time, because people were like, okay, well, where's the cost come from? This and that. Why can't you take 100% of your money out up front? Well, this is why. You don't have any equity in the deal yet. Okay.
And I apologize, Brandon, for those of you who are just joining us. Maybe this is your first time seeing Brandon. We do have part one. We have a video that you can go back and take a look, and that'll catch you up on exactly what he was talking about. Where the fees come from. So we do have part one, and we can get that to you.
There you go. Appreciate you. All right. Okay. And so think about another way to think about the surrender charge is if you have a bank account, like at a credit union, where they make you keep like $5 or $25 in the savings or something like that. It's kind of like one of those things. Okay. All right. So if you notice in years 1, he's putting in 60,000, borrowing 48, saving 12. Year 2, years 3, years 4, years 5, they all look the same for the first 7 years, correct? Okay. All right. So let's look at what we've accumulated through 7 years in this policy here. All right. This is our total contribution because we were saving 12,000 a year over 7 years. So that's 84 grand. At this point in time, my cash value or accessible cash value, that's not the account value. I don't want to confuse you guys because there's so many numbers you can look at in this chart. But I try to condense it, keep it simple as I can. What he can borrow is 83,991. And I want you to notice this death benefit is now at 612. Where did we start? 881,000. See, nobody asks. Well, ain't nobody asking questions. I'm kind of just talking right now.
Why did the death benefit go down? I'll ask the question. Right.
Why did it go down? Okay, well, when people hear the word loan, they automatically get scared. Because loan means, oh snap, I gotta pay money back. All right. So why am I gonna put money in an insurance policy and then borrow it and then have to pay that loan back? That's the beauty of insurance. That's why I say this is the easiest way to create wealth. Because just like a person would use their home, like a line of credit on their home, or take out the cash in their home, you could use the equity in this policy or the death benefit of this policy to pay off your loan. So as this $48,000 comes out as a loan in year 1, you see how the death benefit goes down to 829? It's because the insurance company is deducting the cost of the loan from your future death benefit. Why? Because you paid pennies to buy that asset. You already paid to borrow the money, so you don't need to pay it back. That's deep, y'all. That's deep. Think about it. You already paid to borrow the money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to teach you that nowhere else. They're going to say, we're going to give you some money. Now pay us back plus interest. We ain't talking about
That's dope.
trying to borrow our own money.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this isn't a traditional insurance policy from the sense that typically you pay for insurance till you die. You do want to pay for this policy until you die, but you don't want to save in this policy until you die. So in our design, and this is why it's proprietary, this is what Thrive does, we fund these accounts for 7 years. Some people fund them quicker. Some people, it takes a little bit longer, but the sweet spot is funding it for about 7 years. All right. So by year 7, the account should be fully funded, meaning you don't have to save any more money in it. Starting in year 8, we want you to flow 100% of your cash. So what's happening here is, you remember the premium column of 60,000 a year or 5,000 a month, and the loan column are equal. So what's happening here? All right. Well, remember, we got our bank account. We got $5 grand a month going in. We got $5 grand a month coming out. And now he's paying the bills there. But key point, he was saving $1,000 a month. I would assume he could still afford to save $1,000 a month, right? So as that full 5,000 comes out, he's going to use 4 of it to go pay bills, and he's going to invest the other 1,000 in Forex. You feel me? He gonna invest it somewhere, and he gonna double dip. All right. So now he has the advantage of not just earning the money on the money that he paid into the policy, but now he's leveraging that money in a different way. He just increased his return on the other side by doing so. Okay. So we're not going to have him save in this policy anymore. He's done, but he's still going to continue to save. He's going to diversify. Does that make sense? All right. Now I want you guys to take a peek over his cash value one more time. And let me highlight it for you. Who can tell me what the cash value represents? Who's been listening? Feel free to unmute yourself.
You can come off mute and take a
amount-
stab at it.
The amount he can borrow.
Yep. So for those of you who have like IRAs or 401ks or brokerage accounts or savings accounts, this is the same thing. All of this money is what he's accumulated over the first 10 years of this account. 84,000 is his money that he paid into his policy. Of that 84, it has now blossomed and turned into 121. Notice how the beginning of this contract, we're upside down. We're upside down. We actually have less in cash value than what we paid into the policy. But right around here, year 7, year 8, we are now in the positive. Okay, so if we think about those fees that we talked about up front, how are we paying those fees now? Is this policy costing us money or is it making us money?
Everybody say making money.
Money now. Okay, so as you can see, we're not going to save another penny in this plan, which is why you see the savings column stay the same, but the cash value column increase. 24 years into this account, age 60, at age 64 for Kenny. His total savings out of pocket was 84,000. His cash value that he's accumulated is $913,424. And if you notice, the death benefit is almost 3 times as what he started out. Everybody say, wow.
Wow, say it backwards. Say
Wow.
it backwards.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
All right, so hold up. I had to get one more sip of coffee. Okay.
Brandon,
So
I apologize. Got to get something. Listen, type wow in the chat. I need 42 wows in the chat.
Right.
Come on, give me some wows in that chat.
That's dope. That's
Right.
dope.
yes, I don't know. Please. So think about this as like paying 84,000 for a house and letting that asset accumulate over 24 years. That's a pretty good return.
That's a fantastic return.
Great return. Not only is this death, I want to touch on this death benefit. Did you guys know the number one destroyer of most people's finances is medical bills? Cancer, strokes, heart attacks, Alzheimer's, diabetes, amputations. Those things are like financial cancer, to people's accounts, right? When things like that happen, people have to spend down their assets, meaning they have to take money from their IRA or their 401k. They have to take out a second mortgage on their house. They got to do all these things that can disrupt their future financial plans because they don't have insurance to take care of those things if something were to happen. Today in the insurance contracts, and most companies will have this, they'll actually let you use your death benefit while you're still living for a qualifying sickness or illness or chronic illness while you're still living. They'll let you borrow up to $1 million, not even borrow, because remember, it's insurance. You already paid a premium, a cost for it. So they'll give you that while you're still living, and you can keep the cash value. That's powerful, okay? And studies show 3 out of 4 people will experience long-term care event at some point in their life, which means they need help eating, bathing, drinking, going to the bathroom, walking, all these different things. So it's pretty some kind of cool to just have, as you get older, because that's usually when stuff like that happens, as you get older. Okay, my young people, as we get older, we got to be looking for that. All right. So at this point in time, Kenny's been working this whole life. He got all this money. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of going to the job. I got enough. Deuces. I'm out. I'm finna go travel or something like that. Right. So at this point in time, what Kenny's gonna do is start taking income from his account. But notice something though. Kenny's still paying a premium. Now, if Kenny's not working and Kenny's retired, where's this $36,000 of premium coming from? And why is he still paying it? All right, answer to the first question. The money is coming from the savings that he accumulated in his other account. You guys remember that I said that Kenny was gonna keep saving $1,000 a month? He just wasn't saving it here. He just redirected that money and grew another account. That's how you diversify your assets in your portfolio. You create multiple buckets, multiple streams of money that you can pull from in retirement. Now, normally I would say this is Social Security income, which it could be, but I don't know. I don't think if you was born in the 80s or the 70s or the 90s, you might not want to bet on SSI being there. You're gonna have a backup just in case, right? But the point is, he's going to be generating income from some other source, if that makes sense. So before he spends that money, he's going to pay it into his policy as premium, $36,000, and then he's taking out what? $186,000 as a loan. All right. So that is now his income. That's Kenny's retirement income of $150,000 tax-free, plus his $36,000 that is probably going to be tax-free, because the way you can structure portfolio plans, if you don't, beg your pardon?
A year.
Say that one more time.
I'm sorry, I was repeating what you said to my husband. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, no worries. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So in financial planning, you only pay taxes on income over a certain level, right? So that's why when you save money, you want to actually have, you not necessarily want to diversify from a account perspective. You want to diversify from a tax perspective. There's only 3 ways you can pay taxes. You can pay capital gains tax, you can pay income tax, or you can pay no tax, right? Insurance, you're not paying any taxes on that money. Roth IRAs, you're not paying any taxes on that money. 401k, IRA, and capital gains, you will pay taxes. If you make over a certain income, you pay more taxes. If you make under a smaller percentage of income, you pay less taxes, right? So think about it. Kenny was in a tax bracket of a person who made $135,000 a year collectively of income. Now in retirement, he's making $186,000, 150 of it is tax-free, right? What will be tax-free is this $36,000 that he's taking out because he ain't got income. His income on paper is like less than the standard deduction. Well, I don't know what the standard deduction will be up 30, 40 years from now, but now he's taking money out of his 401k tax-free because his income, his taxable income is so small, right? You see, tax diversification is key. That's the number one destroyer of most people's finances other than medical bills is going to be taxes, because taxes can fluctuate. You don't know what they're going to be. So when you're trying to plan around something that's unknown, it's kind of difficult. But you can plan for not paying any taxes. And you can do that as simple as early as today. All right. So what this chart is showing, if you look at lifetime savings, right? He had $84,000 out of pocket in his account. In year 1 of retirement, he takes out $150. So he's now in the positive $66,000. He got his 84 back plus an additional 66. And if he takes out $150,000 a year in income, you are able to see the money that is generated lifetime from this account. And if you look in the cash value column, you'll see that the numbers are going down, even though he's taking money out of the account. Anybody happen to want to guess why they think that is?
I think he meant the numbers are going up.
Oh yeah, the numbers are going up. My bad. I'm scrolling down as I'm looking at the numbers going up.
So
My bad.
again, the money. So he's taking money out of the account, but the account is still going up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people would say, all right, well, if I got 900,000 and I take out 150, I should have what, 7 and some change? In almost every other account, yes. Almost every other account, yes. Because when you take out money from other accounts, you are withdrawing the money. You're not borrowing it. So when you do that, when you withdraw money, you interrupt the growth on your money. When you borrow your money, you don't stop the growth on your money. Let me show you guys something.
Yeah, so your money is continuing to grow uninterrupted because it's still indexed to the market, correct?
Correct. So you got to look at your money 2 ways. Okay, let's say this is your net worth. Okay. All right. There's two ways that you can build your net worth. Most people do it the hard way, where they borrow money and then they slowly pay it off over time. Once they pay it off, they go right back into debt to buy something, and they slowly pay it off over time. So let's say that's school. What comes after school? Maybe a car. What comes after the car? Usually a house. And then if you got kids,
It's education.
Kids, it's more school.
More school. Yeah.
So most people are just borrowing because you kind of have to borrow the way the economy is set up now, but never creating any wealth. Like I said earlier, most people's wealth is tied up in their house because real estate traditionally goes up. So that's person number one. Person number two is this person. They save for everything. Once they got enough money, they spend it and buy what or pay for school. I don't want to go into debt to buy a car. I'm gonna save my money. Once I got enough, I'm gonna pay for the car, cash, and now I'm back to even. Same thing for the house. That's why you should never pay cash for anything. You should finance everything. So you guys see what's happening?
Brandon is Destrian, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, what you just said, are they really at even though? Because if they spent that time saving and then they spend it, the time value of money says that they have a law of diminishing returns upon purchase, right? And so one of the concepts that we're trying to get the group to understand is that this concept of breaking even is not really true. It takes you much more time. It takes much more money to get back to where you think you're even because of the opportunity for growth as well as inflation. So could you impress upon that? Because I think that's kind of where you were going with this as well.
Exactly. So let's say we expound on that, right? Just add a little bit onto it. Okay. So if we take just the previous example of either borrowing and then paying that off, or either saving and then paying for everything in cash, you would be accumulating wealth, but where would you be accumulating it at? Or, you know what I'm saying? Meaning like, so if you have a house, of course, you're going to build some wealth there. If you are saving in the meantime, like in a, brokerage account or wherever, you're going to be growing some savings there, right? But all that debt, the opportunity cost on both ends is where the insurance piece comes in, because you could simultaneously save everything. You saving everything here, whereas you can treat it as collateral and borrow against it at the same time. Now, what happens here is if you understand the magic of compounding interest, towards the back end of the account is going to continue to grow. So I think I was talking about this piece because when you withdraw money or spend down, right, you lose the opportunity, you interrupt the growth, right? So let's say if we're saving, let me erase that. Say if we're saving here, and let's say we don't borrow, right? But we still get to use the income. We still get to use the money. We borrow against it. We never stop this growth up top, right? And so that's what insurance allows you to do. As opposed to in a 401k, it would look like this. You saved up all this time and now you're just spending down your asset. As you spend down your asset, you decrease the opportunity for that account to continue to compound and grow, which is why people tend to run out of money when they use accounts like 401k. 401ks are great for accumulation because there's no cap on or limit on growth, but distribution wise, they're just not as great as distribution. And traditionally people use things like pensions for retirement, and a pension is an insurance product. It's an annuity. Right? So just something to think about. And we kind of wonder like, well, why that is because you have an asset to borrow against, being the insurance itself. It's kind of like, I don't know if people borrow against their stocks and like margin accounts. I don't know if we got any people that advanced on the call today. Okay.
Refi the house.
Yeah. Okay, hold up. 1 second. Let me find That was a great point, D. Okay. So you remember we got Kenny and we got his wife, Michelle. So I just showed y'all Kenny's policy, right?
Right.
All right. So we're going to look at Michelle's policy. Okay. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Who remembers? So basically we did the same thing for Michelle, but I want to see who remembers how much money they made take home. Collectively together. How much money did they make take home?
Was it 95,000? 90?
Yep, close. They made 90,000.
90,000? Okay.
Yep. So Kenny's putting 60,000 a year in his policy, and Michelle's putting 60,000 a year in her policy. That's 120, right? Where's the extra $25,000 coming from if they only make 90?
This part.
Anybody can guess that. Just feel free to unmute yourself.
So they made 90, and in both contracts, they're putting in a total of 120. How does
They're
that
putting it, are they putting it in the policy when they're paying the bills? Is that?
I think you're on the right track.
Uh-huh.
I would guess that this has something to do with some like pre-tax deductions.
Ooh, I know.
Let's hear it.
Interest.
Let's see how creative, who's thinking outside of the box right here. If they make 90,000 collectively take home, and Kenny's putting 60,000 a year of his income into this account, and Michelle's putting 60,000 a year of income through her account, that's 120. Where's that other 25 coming from?
Oh, you can't do that. The math doesn't equal up. How are you gonna get something for nothing?
So this part, right?
I love it. I love it.
If you haven't been taking copious notes, this is where you might want to start taking copious notes, because this is dope.
You just might want to start paying attention now, right?
Yep. So we got bank account, we got bills, we got Kenny, we got Michelle. All right, so this is cash flow. Cash flow is king, right? So what's happening is that money is coming into Kenny's policy, 60,000 a year. And then what is he doing from there? He's taking a loan, right? Of how much?
48,000.
48,000. Before that 48,000 goes back to the bank account, it's going to make a pit stop. It's going to go through Michelle's account. From there, Michelle's going to save her 12,000. That's why we had her stop her contribution to her 401k so that she could have this. All right. And then Michelle's going to take a loan of 48,000. That money's going back into the bank, and then they're paying their bills. So what's happening right there? If we're making a 3% spread on the loans that we take, Kenny's making 3%. Now Michelle's making 3, but we all started with the same income.
So does that become a cumulative 6%?
Yes.
That's double dipping for you.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, fam.
That actually increases, it increases the ROI by 100%. So you're not even increasing it by 3%. You're not going from 3% return to 6% return. You're increasing your 3% return by 100%, essentially, right? Because let's say if you made 3,000 here of interest just on that 3%, I'm just using that number just for an example, and it just stopped there, and there wasn't another policy to run that through, it would only be 3,000. Well, by running it through this one, now you got 6,000. So you just 2x this return off the same money, leveraging up like that. That's insane. Okay. All right. Now,
so what are we saying? Listen, if you are single, here's what we're telling. If you are single, this is a time we just passed Valentine's Day. We need you to go out right now tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. Go get married, go have some kids, because you should see what these things look like on kids.
That's right.
You take that same money and you flow it through
The
You
kids'
use the
policy.
policies. You feel me? That's how you do it.
Wow.
It's like buying.
Double, triple wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's crazy. This is crazy.
There we go. All right. So what's happening here? I just kind of want to run through Michelle's policy real quick. So as that 48,000 loan comes out from Kenny's policy, Michelle's putting 12 in, but then they're running that 48 through this account as well. And they're going to do that for 10 years or 2 years, the first 2 years. Now, because Michelle got a better rating on her account, then for years 3 through 7, she's going to put in 60, pull out 57 and only save 3,000. This is when we're going to have her go and start putting some excess back in her 401k. Let's say if she changes job or her company decides to match, we want to have some flexibility there to be able to open to be able to continue funding those other accounts. All right. Starting in year 8, now we got the 60,000 coming from Kenny's policy, taking that out as a loan, and then we paying it through Michelle's policy, taking that out as a loan. So we are flowing all of this income through 2 accounts, and starting at age 60 for her. That's her total out of pocket is 39,000. Her cash value is 833,000. So that's collectively about what, 1.6 million, 1.7 million between the 2 accounts. And now starting at age 61, this is going to be a nice income for them, right? Where's that $186,000 of premium coming from, you guys? Where do you guys think it's coming from? Because you remember they only had 36,000 in passive income inside of Kenny's policy, a premium going in. Well, as Kenny takes out that 186, guess what he's going to do?
You're going to put it through her policy.
Put it through her policy. And then he's going to take out a loan of $350,000 total. So we got $350,000 tax-free income coming into this household, and we did it based off of their bill money.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to type that backwards. Wow.
I said we got this family a total of $350,000 tax-free income in retirement, and we did it using their bill money.
Yeah, I gotta ask one more question, Brandon, because I heard what you just said. So how much more out of pocket do I have to come out of?
How much more out of pocket?
Yeah, you said you did with my what money?
Your bill money.
So you mean the money I'm already spending?
Already spending.
That's what you're using to do this. You're using the money I'm already spending.
Yeah, of course. See, the thing is, everything should be financed, right? If you think about money, that's why I mean, even tell you like in the Bible and stuff, there's like a story about Jesus and the 3 talents or parables. It's all about money in there. Put money to work. You feel me? When you spend money, you have to go and rework to replace that money. When you invest money, money returns to you, usually with more money on it, right? So think about it. You want to be able to lend money, but still use money. That's why credit is it's actually really cool. You know, back in the old days, people would just take their extra money, put it at the bank. The bank would lend it out and they would pay you 5-6% for saving your money. Those days are gone. That ain't happening no more, right? It's just not happening. And so what the insurance is allowing you to do is save your money. But when you buy the insurance, now you have a collateral that you can borrow against. So now you're not interrupting the growth in your savings account. You're using credit that you already paid for, but you're paying, right, to use it. You're basically paying to borrow money. You're earning 7% on one side and borrowing at 4% on the other. You see, so it's okay to pay interest. It's okay to pay interest. All right. It's okay. Even if it's 10%, if you're paying 10% interest and you make 11, that's still a percent. You're still in the positive. Right. Think about like a home, interest rates are going up right now. So people are going to be able to buy a lot less house. And it's going to cost a lot of interest up front. Right. A lot of interest up front. Well, let's say if we take a look at a mortgage payment, and before you pay your mortgage, you pay your insurance policy, borrow from that, then pay the mortgage. Now you got extra cash accumulating in your policy. The interest is not affecting you because you have an instrument, a weapon that can offset the charges. So now it don't even really matter what you're paying the interest for the house or on the loan, or even a car for that matter.
So Brandon, I'm hearing, again, this Dexter, I'm hearing a few things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I'm hearing you say let me teach you how to be your own family bank, right? So let's lend ourselves money. Let's buy money that we can lend ourselves. And then number two, if I'm thinking about this appropriately, you know, as my wheels are starting to turn, we get down the path of, we're talking about one policy right now that we're talking about for the wife and kids. But let's say you're aggressive and you get this paid off in half the time. Why not pull the cash value out and re-up again and keep that same flow going? So is there a limitation? If some people are wondering, is there a limitation on if you can do this multiple times? Or is this a system that you can employ over and over again?
Well, I know it's open now. I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but it's I don't know what it's going to look like there, but I know like right now, yes, you can. And that's actually very smart. That's what you could do. That's what you definitely would do. Even let's say if we come back to these numbers, let's say if we think in generationally, right? We design our policies in a way to where once the IRS test is passed, there's no limit to how much money we could pay in this policy, right? Because of the way we design it. And so let's fast forward out here to let's say Kenny. Let's say Kenny lives a nice long life of 96 years. Okay. Kenny's net death benefit is 10.9 million, tax-free net. All right. Once that money pays out as a death benefit, where's it going to go? I mean, not too many places it could go. But if his kids or grandkids already have an account,
it's going back in the account.
It's going right back in the account.
Fund the account.
Right back in the account.
Fund the account for the next set of kids and grandkids.
That's why maybe next time I'll show you a kid's policy, because we talking about getting to $1 billion for the children.
Well, B, we gotta run that, because I just got 2 policies like last week, whole life cash value on the boys in my new edition.
Right.
But when I'm looking at the model, I know the model that I saw, and I'm looking at this model right here. We're talking about a different model. So
yeah.
Nah. So yeah, let's definitely catch up. And for all you that are out there, go ahead, brother.
Hey, you licensed, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, man. We got to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to talk, man.
So let me say one of the things, family, and as you can see, as Destiny just mentioned, he just got a couple of policies on his children, right? It's not so much the policy that you get, it's how it's structured. Okay. So you need to make sure that you are, the Bible says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? You need to make sure that you're working with somebody that has that knowledge to properly structure what you need for you and your family, and is for generations to come. Again, most people looking at life insurance for the death benefit, but has anybody ever showed you how to use it for the living? Right. And that's what you just saw. And that's what you're seeing right now.
That's it. Yeah. And this is the long money. You know, I say you build your business to build your income for the money today, but then you want to have a plan for that money for the long term in the future. You know, I feel like the key to wealth really is creating multiple income streams now, like now, you know, having savings is great. Investing is great. But you can wait 20 years to have $1 million, or you can spend the next 5 to 10 creating a business to get you that same income to now, you know what I'm saying? And then all the extra stuff is what we can pass down to the next generation.
Absolutely.
Going forward, you know, that's my goal. Just want to share that.
Well, let's see. Any questions? I know Anthony's kind of monitoring the chat room, but no, this is a great time, great point to pause. We've been going for about an hour, but this hopefully let me just do a pulse check. If you like what you just heard and saw, do me a favor, drop some 888s in the chat room. I want to see something. Like the kids say, let me see something.
There we go.
Dope. Ms. Stacey, I see your hand is up. Did you have a question, or was it up just from prior?
No, I do have a question. So
Okay.
I love the model. I love this. This is wonderful. But you started with the model for someone who's like y'all age. I'm
Mhm.
old. There's some older people on this call too. Or so we say seasoned. We're not old, we're just seasoned.
Uh,
How about that?
You guys,
And
you
so
guys are wise.
Yes.
okay, thank you, Anthony. And so yeah, we might have maybe 7, maybe 10 years before we're ready to retire. So we don't have that long, maybe 20, 30 years there before we're at 65 or whatever. We might have anywhere between 5 to maybe 10 years. So
uh-huh.
I heard you say you can do this in a more accelerated process.
Mhm.
Or can you still just do the process that you're doing and it is what it is?
You can still do the process. So what I would say is when it comes to so the biggest key for investing is time, right? So it depends on what we would have to work with. So there's things that we can do to stretch out what you currently have saved, right? We could use the income stream such as Social Security because that's not going anywhere like immediately. So let's say somebody who is older, who already got a letter that says I'm gonna get X amount in Social Security, right? On top of I got 401k or I got IRA or a pension from through my company. You could do the same exact thing. And typically what we're able to find, I'm trying to see if I can find an example of one.
So, okay, so, but so I understand the pension of 401k, that makes sense. But say you still gonna work for the next 7 years, maybe 8 years. Because I saw that 7 was like the sweet spot that you used as an example, but I don't know if that same sweet spot would apply to a person that's older.
Right. So like, let me see if I can find an example here.
And while you're doing that, I know we are live on Facebook as well. So again, throw your questions there in the comment section on Facebook, and we'll make sure we'll get to you as well, Facebook.
Yep.
If you need to do it later, I just want to pose the question so that I could just have some additional information to kind of digest.
Right. Okay.
Somebody else can ask another question, and
Okay.
you can just send that back later so other people can get.
I can definitely do that. What I will say is this can work for almost anyone, but we don't never really know until we see what pieces we have to work with, because even in cases like health, age, all that stuff does come into a factor. So in some cases, let's say if the cost is going to be too heavy, because insurance contracts, they're cost heavy up front. So it takes them some time to season and be able to make all this stuff work. So sometimes what we'll do is take a family member who's younger, we'll put the insurance on them and then use the account the same way, where let's say like you would of the account, but then we put the insurance on somebody with a better rating. That makes sense.
So you're saying that if you're older and you're closer to retirement, you your grandchildren or your children to do the same thing that you just explained to us, and we can benefit it from ourselves.
Correct.
Being the owner.
Correct. So there's actually a couple. Let me show you this one real quick. So this is one example. This is like a combined family plan. So this lady, she actually, her daughter and her son-in-law, they have policies. And so she's still working, but she does have some savings. And what we're going to slowly do is start transferring money from her retirement account and start funding this one. Okay, so if you notice through the first 7 years, she's putting in $50,000 a year and her bills are 30. So she's putting in 50, taking out 30. So she's saving aggressively up front. All right. Through 7 years in, she's going to save a total of 120 in the account. All right. Now at retirement, which would be her age 71, you see 100,000 coming in. But where's that 100,000 coming from? It's coming from the son-in-law and daughter's policy. So 100,000 comes in, but now we're taking 130 out. So we're getting her 30,000 of income from this account, her personal account, but then she still has Social Security. So she'll still be projected to have at least the same amount of income coming in when she retires, starting at age 71. So that's kind of a design that we put together for her. Then there's also, this is a family out in, they're actually in Maryland as well. This is Kenny and Emanise. They have a real estate. Kenny's a general contractor, and Emanise is a government contractor. And so combined income, they bring home about 150. They take about 120 a year and invest in their real estate, as well as bills and expenses, and they're saving 30,000 a year. All right. Starting at age 62, they're basically flowing their income same way. Starting at 71, now we're basically taking their passive income from their real estate portfolio, flowing that in the account, and then pulling out an additional 150. So it just kind of depends on what we're working with. We can almost put a plan together for everybody. And if we can't, we just let you know, and then we tell you what the steps that you would need to take in order to get the outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah, the two biggest factors is first you got to qualify health and age wise, and then after that, all you got to do to be able to fund one of these accounts is save a little bit of money, either a large lump sum or money coming in monthly over time. And what helps this policy grow is just the expense money, your living expenses. Everybody's going to have living expenses no matter what age. You're just going to utilize that cash in the policy and then loan it back out. So then that your policy actually compounds and grows for the whole rest of your life, really.
There you go. Got a couple.
I have a question.
Yes.
So how long do you have to wait to borrow against the policy? Is there a waiting period, like a year, before you can start those type of transactions?
You can do it right away. That's the beauty of it, but you do got to fund the account like the right way. There's two ways to fund it. The easy way, which is already have some cash, some liquid cash saved. The hard way, I did it the hard way. I didn't have no money when I started, y'all. So I did it the hard way where I just was kind of stacking money in the account and not taking anything out. And then once I had enough in the account, it took me like 3 months to save up enough to be able to start doing this. There you go.
Hi, and Brandon. And Brandon, I have a question. I had the same question Deirdre just asked. What's the minimum amount that you could start with? And what's the minimum age? You said something about age, and I mean medical and age.
The minimum age is 15 days old. So, like, yeah, okay. That's the minimum age. So you get to go on that. As far as the minimum amount, the premium can be anything. I wouldn't say there's a minimum premium. There's a minimum death benefit that the insurance company will issue, and that's typically depending on age, is either 50,000 or 100,000. So if you notice in this example, what we typically try to do is fund it based off of your expenses, right? So let's see, one way I could probably put it is we would say, like, what is the minimum that you can save? All right, what's the minimum that you can save? And I would say comfortably save. All right.
Oh, you asking me?
Oh no, I'm just saying this is just anybody, you know, just because other people are probably thinking the same thing. So I'm just asking the question. So
it varies. That's the thing about it. Sometimes, you know, you have more expenses than others at different times. But I would say, what is it? A week, a month, or a year? What are you talking about when you say savings?
Yeah, I would say save a year for 7 years. What can you comfortably save for 7 years? So this kind of comes back down to, this is a great plan, but insurance is extremely, this is an advanced strategy, right? If you do it wrong, it can cost you money. If we set it up wrong, it can cost you money, whereas like it's not gonna work and you're just gonna waste money. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we're sitting with somebody, we like to get goals out, and we like to see some discipline, some financial discipline up front, because I know thinking 7 years ahead, finances can change, right? So we want to see people start do the most they can do up front, so that way you don't have to save in this account for longer than you really need to. All right. So for example, when I first got mine, I knew what I could comfortably save. Right. And matter of fact, I wouldn't even say I could comfortably save it, but I understood the power behind it. So I said, how much do I need to save? And so that was a shift. And then I figured out how much I needed to save, and I made that happen. And so we can kind of tell you what you would need to save in order to get the outcome that you're looking for, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there a penalty if you get into it and, like you just said, if you find out it's not working for you, do you have to pay some kind of penalty?
Yep, that surrender
Get out
charge.
of it. Surrender. Okay.
Yep, surrender charge. If you guys go back and look at the previous video, or not the previous, the last time I was here, I talked about fees and the surrender charge. Why the surrender charge exists is because the insurance company, it actually costs them money to give you the insurance policy. Like when you buy it, they got to underwrite it, they got to liquidate assets, and they actually lose out on a percentage because we commit to paying a certain premium over a certain amount of time. And so they're factoring all that in. So what happens if we break the promise of paying X amount of premium? Then they will charge us the surrender, recoup the costs. Because insurance company is all about risk management, right? Which is why you want to have a mutual company, because as a mutual insurer, you are the policy owner is actually a member of the company. It's like work or having a credit union. You're actually a member. And so you share in the profits of that company. And so they have these things in place like surrender charges so that the insurance companies essentially never at a loss. And so they'll keep that. And that's why where the strategy starts. And that's why we like to tell you not tell you, you tell us what's the minimum savings that you can comfortably do. And we say comfortably, like you shouldn't even be able to think about it. Like, you know, you can do it.
Brandon.
Yep.
You still
Hey,
talking?
Antonio, I have one more question.
The question I was going to ask is, so like if you wanted to kind of accelerate it by putting a large sum in, like say like 5,000, but you don't really have that money, and you take a loan and put the 5,000 in, and then you can use that account to pay off your bills and pay that $5,000 back that you borrowed. Would that be a good way to try to accelerate the fund a little bit?
That's a good idea. I never thought about that before. Good job, Antonio. Now I wouldn't recommend that you do that, because now you even though you're paying that bill, and you're paying it from the policy, you know, it's still kind of like it's still an additional thing that you kind of have to pay for. It might make more sense to just kind of save without borrowing up front. So what I did, I didn't have a lump sum to start with. And so the way I worked mine out was, let's say if we had 12 months, so we got, let's just say we had January, February, March, April, May, June. All right, and these aren't going to be like the actual numbers. Okay. I'm gonna try to give you the best numbers I can, just kind of based on doing this. Let's say if you had a policy and your expenses were, let's say if you could save $500 a month, say if that's what your savings is, then what that tells me is that your premium could be $2,500 a month. Right. So let's say you tell us you can save 500. That means that your premium can be 2,500. So what that would look like is you pay 2,500 of premium, and then you take a loan of 2,000. That loan is what goes to pay your bills and expenses, and then the savings that's left behind is the 500. Does everybody see how I got that?
Remember, family is based off of
Yes.
your current monthly expenses, right? Plus what you can save. That's what it's based off of. So again, nobody's asking you to come up with additional. You have to take what your monthly expenses are and what you can have for savings.
Right. Exactly. And so let's say if somebody's saving $500 a month over 12 months, that's $6,000 for the year. So you guys remember when I said there's an easy way and a hard way to do it? The easy way is to have 6,000 and just put it in the policy up front. Then every other dollar that comes in, you can borrow against. You still got the 6,000 that's there, but you don't have to think about the saving monthly. You're not going to be caught like in a spot where you don't have any cash or liquidity. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right.
That makes sense. Makes a
All
lot
right.
of sense. I have one more question, and I'm gonna leave you alone, Brandon.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Hold on. Actually, let me finish this piece real quick, because there's three ways you can fund it. Okay. So that's the easy way. So let's say this is easy, or the number one, whatever makes sense. It's the number one way. The number two way is to take just your monthly premium of $2,500 and just pay that in the very first month and not borrow any of it. And then starting in month two, you put in another $2,500, and then you borrow, let's say, $2,000 of it. That's one way. The other way, because really what you need to get in the account is about this particular way, the way this is funded, you need to get at least $2,500 in the account before you can start borrowing, because that covers your cost and your charges pretty much for the whole year, as well as the surrender. Does that make sense? All right.
So kind of like always having a payment, one payment ahead.
Right. You want to be, that's exactly right. You want to be a month ahead of your expenses. That's why if you already have living or like an emergency fund with cash savings already, this is like makes perfect sense. Okay. Now, the other way, and this is the way I don't like typically recommend it, is to start with what you can save, which is like, let's say if this person could save $500 a month. Okay, well, they could just start the account at $500 a month. But you remember that I said that it's going to take, they need about $3,000 in the account before they can borrow money out of it. So they would just be putting $500 a month in the account like this. And then they would do that for about 6 months, because 6 months in, they would have 3,000. Then they can start putting in like 5,000 and borrowing 5 if they want to, because it doesn't have to be the same number every month. It's flexible. It's different premiums supposed to fit around your lifestyle. So this is the hardest way. This is what I did, but this does put you in a spot where if you don't already have savings, then now you don't have any liquidity. The money that you're saving is in your policy and you don't have access to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yep.
And so again, you have to start saving somewhere, right? And so eventually, if a person, I know I need to save, okay, so I'll take 500 and I'll put it in my savings account. Well, we're just saying, hey, just direct it, and then you can get ready to do this within the next 6 months. But if you don't have any savings, we gotta talk about some things in order to help free up some money, right? We gotta show you how to cut some things in order to free up some money so that you can save, so that you can prepare for your future.
Yep. We need positive cash flow.
Well, actually, will lead us into our next motivational Monday. If you are in a position where you got to start saving, we got something for you. We're gonna help you with that, so that we can get you to this particular program here.
There we go. What was, and I didn't, because somebody was asking a question while I was explaining that.
I was just putting it in the chat just now, but I'll actually, it's because I'm a senior, and I just wanted to know something. Anthony had put in the chat, someone asked him a question about the medical part, and he said that they send a doctor to your house, or do they use your public medical history that's out there for everybody to see? That's what qualifies.
It's a combination of it's either one or the other, or sometimes a combination of both.
Mhm.
In some cases, they can underwrite you just based off public medical, or not public medical records, but insurance companies have databases to like prescription, like it's called a MIB, Medical Information Bureau.
Public. It's public.
Yep.
It's not private. That's why I made sure I said public, because not private. And I think that's another topic for another day.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So they'll look at that. They'll also look at your driving history, or like DMV report. And then there's also something called
private.
Okay. And then there's something called a true risk score. And that's kind of like it's not like a credit pool, but it is like similar to like a soft pool, but they're not checking your credit. They just, apparently there's a connection between credit score and life expectancy. The better a person's credit score is, the longer they're projected to live. The lower a person's credit score is, the least they're projected to live. So they actually look
I should do it right then.
There you go.
The POA then.
There you go. Yeah, good stuff.
Okay, thank you guys very much.
You're very welcome.
Hello, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Hey, I'm Stacey. I know I put in the chat, and I was Anthony did answer me. Obviously I'm in the UK, and it did say that it's not available in the UK, but I wanted to know, how could I, if I'm in the UK, how could I take advantage of what you were presenting today over there? But if you're going to have a doctor visit, how is that going to work?
So that's a tricky question. We get people who ask. So I'm going to look into the UK.
I've talked to Tony before. He basically said that there's two ways you can do it. You can go the non-medical route, and you still need a U.S. address on file to receive your documents. But I mean,
hey, Anthony, I think let's take this one offline for the in the interest.
I got you.
Okay. Oh yeah, we are streaming live, huh? Okay.
Yes.
I'll answer you directly on your chat that you sent over.
Okay.
Right on. Then see a question. How will the policy be affected by the downturn of the market? Okay. What investments is the IUL? Okay. So IUL, the strategy is this. All right. Alex, can you come off mute? Is Alex still here? Oh, okay, got it. Are you do you do any current investing in the market as of right now? Stocks, okay. What particular stocks? S&P or just individual stocks? Individual, okay. Are any of the individual stocks that you invest in the S&P 500? Okay. How about the NASDAQ or the Russell? Okay, NASDAQ. Okay. So what you can do is you can index your returns to the market. So it's almost like investing in an index, but not directly investing in the index. So let's say you had the NASDAQ over here, or the S&P 500, whatever index there is, right? There's a bunch of indexes. And then let's say that this was your account. Let me just put it. Actually, I'm gonna use the $sign. This is your savings account.
There's multiple indexes that
you're
able to allocate your money to.
Yep. There's multiple indexes you can allocate your money to. The insurance company is just using the market to index your return or credit your account, right? So there's 12 crediting segments per year for each 12 months. And the insurance company is tracking from this year to next year, right? So from, what is it, March, it's February now, right? So from February 2022 to February 2023, that's 1 year's time frame. Let's say if the market goes up 10% during that time period, then they're going to credit your account 10%. Okay. And so these things work on what you call a cap of 10% and a floor of 0%. Okay. So then let's say that the following month, which would be March of 2022 to March of 2023, let's say the NASDAQ returned 5%, and they're going to credit you 5%. And here we got February, we got March, April, and then let's say May. Let's say from April, the NASDAQ returns 30% or S&P returns 30%. Then because we have a 10% cap, we get 10%, right? Let's say the following month, which would be May, there's a negative 30%. But because the money's not in the market, it's not subject to the loss. So you have a 0% guarantee right there, or that's what's known as your floor. So you're basically keeping these gains made here, whereas over here you're losing those gains. So in the event of economic downturn, it's it's insurance. So it's insurance for an economic downturn. And assuming you have cash available in this type of an account, once the market does go down like that, that presents a buying opportunity all in itself. Is it indexed for inflation? As far as it being indexed for inflation, I would say yes, because inflation is tied to things that appreciate. Stocks typically do well during inflation. Commodities typically do well during inflation. If you have certain indexes or whatever with those that are tracking those certain commodities, then yes, because you're going to be indexed to things that inflate, so there we go. So yeah, so Alex, it sounds kind of like you might have missed the beginning, because I don't want you to this is not a stock or it's an instrument, right? You have specific indexes that you could choose from, but we're not necessarily trying to get 20 or 30% in this account. All we need is 1%. Really all we need is 1, but we can get 3. So if you look at your income and you look at your expenses and you look at your savings, right? All right, and I'm gonna put just some numbers to this. Let's say your income is 100,000 a year. And I'm using this because it's just an easy number, 100,000 a year. And let's say your expenses are 90. That includes like taxes, everything, right? And you can save 10 grand. Okay. What conventional wisdom, conventional financial planning says is, hey, let's take this 10,000 and let's invest it into something that can get us the biggest return that we can get. All right, the biggest return that we can get. And let's just say for this example, let's say we can get 20% return year over year on $10,000 of savings. That is an awesome return, right? It's 2,000. That's a great return for a year. Am I right? Can we all agree on that? Can I get some 8s in the chat if we can all agree on that? There we go. All right. But check out this expense column. $90,000 was not invested. So because $90,000 couldn't be invested, it cost us a huge amount of opportunity there, right? What the insurance allows us to do is average about 3% on the money that we spend. So if we looked at 3% of 90 grand, that's 2,700, right? Even though it's only 3% interest, it's on $90,000, right? As opposed to getting 20% on 10,000, which is only 2,000, right? Which return do you think would be easier to get over the next, let's call it 25 years? Would it be easier to average 20% over the next 25 years or 3%?
3%.
There you go. All day. Now, will there be some years we get 10 or 20 in the market? Yes, but on average, we only gonna get 10% here.
And B is different again, man. And I'm not trying to continue to jump into your program, bro, but I want people to really kind of hone in on this. You're getting 3% on your lifestyle. your expenses are equivalent to the lifestyle. It's just lifestyle. Savings are hard to come by, especially in a rising rate environment. Brandon talked about it a little bit earlier. The price of everything is going up. Fat Joe said yesterday's price is not today's price, and it ain't. It's really not. And so if you can earn, or you can create a gap between expenses and revenue with the way you live, what you're going to do every day, not think about it. This is not even thinking about it. It's just plugging into a system that says, the way I live pays me.
Yeah.
Who's in on that? I'm just trying to figure it out, because, bro, while you talking, I'm over here texting a bunch of people in the group, and I'm like, I'm looking at this cash value policy I just got from my boys, and I'm like, okay, year 2, year 3. I'm looking at your tables. I'm like, hey, these tables look a little bit different. These tables look a little bit different. Yeah. But as Donnie said earlier, structure matters. And the individual that I worked with, trust them wholeheartedly. Sometimes you're confined by what organizations can do. So what you have to do is vet out different organizations, and what you're thinking about. Brandon talked about it earlier, this being an advanced strategy. This is customized for you. This is not a turnkey solution. This is customized for you and your lifestyle. And I think that you all should really take note of that and understand that this is not an off-the-shelf thing that he's talking about. It's time spent with you understanding your lifestyle, so that this exact chart that you're looking, this what you're looking at right now, literally right now, you make your expenses, which is equivalent to your lifestyle, an enhancement on what you can actually save. So this should be one of those moments that is earth-shattering, groundbreaking, life-changing, and the light bulb goes off, that the way I live can dictate the way that my money works for me. Like, you can literally get up and have business building activities every day. Yeah. Every single day.
Let me add to that, Destrian, and because I know some people may be thinking, I may not be able to swing out $4,000, $5,000 at this time, right? Depending on where you are financially, but everybody has at least one major bill. Can we do your car note?
I did one of those,
right?
That about 3 months ago. Yeah. I think her policy is like $575 a month. She's paying $575 a month. Her car payment is like, her car and insurance is like $400, something like that. So she's saving like $175 a month.
So the goal is to get it started, family, right? You're not going to always be in the financial situation that you're in, for those of you who may be, thinking that. So at least let's get it started. And there's a way it can be done. Again, as Destrian mentioned, it's tailored for you. So what I want to do here is I am going to put a message. There's a couple of things. Number one, already in the chat, I put Brandon's first call. We put the replay in there, so you should see that. We'll also put it back in our personal Telegram groups. It's on Facebook as well. And then, should you have any additional questions, or perhaps you're saying, you know what, I'd like to maybe see how this would work for my personals, my family, right? What we want you to do is simply contact us. Send an email over to support@globalfxtradeclub.com. Everybody should be having something to write with, because you should have been taking copious notes. Support@globalfxtradeclub.com. And we will make sure that we get you in touch with Brandon, so that we can get your specific needs met and your specific goals intact. So again, let's make sure we do that. And it will take maybe one more question, and then we'll wrap things up.
There we go.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as the long-term care is concerned, you had mentioned that, once the policy builds up, that could be used for medical reasons. Would you say to attach a long-term rider to this until you get the cash value built up in the policy, or don't do that?
So with this particular policy, that's just built in from day one at no additional cost or rider
Cool.
charges.
Cool.
It's just based inside of the policy from day one.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And you can use it day one. And it also has something called it's called a waiver of premium. And usually that waiver kicks in if somebody's disabled and they can't afford to pay their premium. And so if you know anything about like disability insurance, the max benefit is 60%. It caps out at a certain dollar amount. Depends on the state, but 60% of your income is what disability will pay if you have like AFLAC or disability through your job, right? Now, let's just think about this for a second. If I have a policy and this policy has something called a waiver of premium. Kenny and Michelle's policy, how much was their premium? $5,000 a month, right? So let's say Kenny gets disabled from his job, like something happens where he just can't work for a certain, let's just say a year. Then now who's paying the premium on the policy? The insurance company. That premium that the insurance company is paying, guess what they can do with it? They can loan it to themselves. So that money that the insurance company is paying has now effectively become disability income. So we could actually replace we can insure them if they get sick, if they get disabled, and if they die, all with the same dollar, all with the same policy. It's powerful. It's extremely powerful.
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much.
You're
very powerful. Very powerful. Well, family, again, thank you so much. I hope this was enlightening to you. I hope there were a lot of aha moments, and I hope that you see that no matter what, where you are in your life financially, whatever income level, guess what? It can be structured where it can work for you. Why is that? Because we're using what you already have with the monies that you're already bringing in. Okay. And so with that being said, Mr. Vassar, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Yes, sir. So definitely, if everybody could come off mute and thank Brandon and Anthony for their time here, let's go ahead and give them some virtual claps, some 888s in chat.
Thank you.